And I'm realizing I never talked about what I was wearing. Haha, that should have gone in the other segment. I have it in my notes and everything. Hello, my name is Michelle and this is Michelle's Fiber Studio podcast. Today is Wednesday, July 23rd, and this is episode number 58. It is about 10:30, actually it's 10:40 in the morning. I was trying to wait for the sun to come around. I still get a little bit of brightness here. I'm hoping in the next 15-20 minutes, which actually probably is most of the podcast. Anyway, I'm gonna try it anyway. Hopefully the lighting isn't too bad, but I have the house to myself right now. Both of my sons as well as my husband are all gone to work. So it is quiet and it is the perfect time to podcast. So I'm gonna strike while the iron is hot. That means I can probably also get this whole thing recorded before my older son comes home from summer school at noon. So at any rate, let's see, it is sunny. It has been actually a really nice week these last several days. The end of last week got wicked hot again, very, very hot and humid, but the humidity broke Friday night, I want to say, and then the weekend and the early part of this week has just been delightful. It's been in the mid 70s, nice little breeze. I do have it on good authority though that heat is going to start to build, and the next couple of days are going to be hot again. But for the moment, we are doing pretty good. So I have two finished objects to share with you. And I have a new cast on and updates on my projects. I think that's it. I think that's all I gotta tell you. So with that, let's go ahead and dive right in. All right, yeah, adjusted the camera a little bit. I don't know if that's better. Anyway, let's get into what I have on my blocking board. I am so excited for this first one because I finished my knit it down sweater. And I'm realizing I never talked about what I was wearing. Haha, that should have gone in the other segment. I have it in my notes and everything. Let's see. We will stick it at the end of this segment. How's that? Okay, anyway, my knit it down. I digress. I finished this yesterday. Oh, I pushed. I did a full sleeve, well, half of a sleeve on Wednesday, Thursday, I think. And then on Friday, I pushed to complete the first sleeve and pick up and get going on the second sleeve because I had an all-day meeting the next day and I wanted to have that sleeve ready to go because I knew that would be perfect to just go round and round and round. Sleeve Island, as we all know, is boring as all heck, and so I thought that would get me a good chunk of the way through getting that sleeve done. So I got maybe a little between a third and halfway. I got just over half of the first set of increases done. I was doing every 6 rows 13 times and then every 4 rows 4 times. So I got, I think, 6 or decreases. Did I say increases? Decreases. I think I got through 7 of the decreases or something like that. And then Monday, I think it was Monday, I did another big push and I got the rest of the decreases done. And then yesterday morning, all I had to do was the cuff. And so I got that cuff done. I'm really, really happy with it. It still needs to be washed and blocked, but here, I can probably throw it on. I'm actually gonna throw it on right over this sweater I'm actually wearing, or top I'm wearing, because it fits that good. It's just a nice little, and again, I've tucked myself into the corner here, and I know now my lighting is changing, so you're not gonna probably see super well, but it's exactly what I wanted. It is exactly. I kept measuring. I have the other one sitting here next to me, which I can actually bring upstairs now that this one is done and put away, but I kind of kept comparing this one all along the way with its counterpart that I was trying to recreate. So, and considering that the original one was done in fingering, in worsted, and this one is done in fingering, I'm just thrilled. Thrilled. So let's talk about the yarn for the final time. I started this on April 1st. It was my birthday cast on, and just finally finished it yesterday on July 22nd. In all fairness, there were some pretty significant chunks of time, several weeks at a time, where it really didn't get touched. So I don't know, like, and that'll happen, right? We'll start a project, and then I'll be all gung-ho for a while, and then it will kind of get waylaid a little, and then I'll pick away a little bit, and then I'll just kind of do this big final push at the end. Do you guys function that way too, or am I the only one? Like, that kind of seems to be my pattern. So unless I blow right through it all the way, if it lingers beyond half the amount of time that you would expect, I don't know, like for a pair of socks, you know, if it lingers beyond a month and a half, then, or even 3 weeks, right? For a sweater, if it lingers beyond a month, then it's probably gonna be even longer. I don't know. Anyway, I'm rambling now, but at any rate, it feels like, yes, it took me just over 3 months, 3.5 months to get this done, but that doesn't feel like an accurate representation of the actual amount of time that I put into it. That's what I was trying to say in this very wordy, verbose way. Anyway, my yarn is by Wonderland Yarns in their Marianne colorway, or Marianne base, and the colorway is After the Storm, which again, one more time, was their limited edition colorway that they created after the floods and such that hit the East Coast last fall. They did it as a fundraiser yarn. I have this much left. I think it weighed almost 3/4 of a skein, like 75 grams, I think is what it weighed. So I have a fair amount left. It actually would make a really great pair of socks. It's a merino nylon, so maybe that's what I'll do with it. I'll set it aside and maybe at some point make some socks with it. That would actually be kind of nice. So anyway, finished project number 1. Finished project number 2. Oh, I got some sirens getting ready to fly by here. Probably didn't see that fire. No, I think the window's too bright. Fire engine went right by. I live about 1.5 miles from our central fire station, so I suspect that might not be the only one. So we'll hopefully not get too interrupted. Anyway, project number 2 is I did a yarn cozy, a quick little yarn cozy. This one is done with the leftovers from my New York City yarn, so I'm super excited to have this one to add to my cozy stash. Again, it was the Trey Liz yarn in the Birthday Girl colorway. I still have a pretty good chunk of this left. I don't remember what it was. Was it like, I want to say 25, about 25 grams. So that will just get set into my scrap bin to be added in or to become something else at some point. But so that is now my second yarn cozy with my New York City sock yarn. I have one more from the very first pair of socks that I knit that I want to turn into a cozy. This one here. So I haven't done that one yet, but I am keeping it right in my little bag here, so that way it's kind of going to be in my face until I do it, and I can't use this project bag for anything else until I make that cozy. So I had cast it on Friday night, and after I finished my sleeve and I got my sleeve all ready to go for my meeting the next day, I decided that I would have this ready also as an alternate in case I just totally got sick of the sleeve, or I don't know. You know, emergency knitting, yeah, you gotta always be prepared, right? I don't think I could ever bring just one project, especially for a day-long meeting. You just never know what would happen. What if there was a big emergency and I ended up at the hospital, and I don't know. That's terrible. It's a little dark. But you just never know where their day is gonna go. Okay, at any rate. So I cast on Friday. I got all of my increases done so that it was just ready to work round and round and round. I didn't end up taking it out, and in fact, it actually sat the entire weekend until Monday night when I was out for the evening and I brought it with me. I'll talk about that later. But I got, well over half of, because it's 3.5 inches, I think I got almost 2 inches done on the body of it. And I think I finished it when I got home, actually. Yeah, I finished it when I got home. So yeah, this is done. Finished project number 2. Okay, before I forget what I'm wearing, I am wearing my Cleome. Let me try standing. Oops, there we go. Again, it's a cute little top that I knit in the summer of 2022. It is the pattern itself is by the Berroco design team. The yarn is the Berroco Vivo in 2 different colors, Breeze and Bloom. I know one of them had a lot more of the yellows and the other one had the pinks, but I don't remember which was which. So go to my project page, you can probably figure it out. And it's 100% cotton. It was actually a sample that I saw on display at the yarn shop in, is it Kittery or York at that point? Yarn Cellar is the name of the yarn shop. And we had the main yarn cruise that my mom and I were doing. That was actually the first shop, I believe, that we went to, as we drove all the way down there. I can't remember if it's Kittery at that point. I think it's York. I'm pretty sure it's York still. And so anyway, this was on display and I loved it. And so I bought the yarn to make it based on the display. So I tend to do that a fair amount. But I've been pretty happy with it. I didn't finish it until middle of September that summer, so I actually didn't get to wear it until the following summer. And I don't say I wear it all the time, but it, it comes out a couple of times, 3-4 times within the summer. So at any rate, that is what I am wearing. So with that, let's take a peek in my project bag. Okay, in my project bag, I have lots to share with you. In addition to finishing a couple of projects, I touched, I think, almost every single project but one, two, that I had been working on. So let's start with this one right in front of me. And this is my Bay Day tank, which is by Briana Luppino of Little Wolf Knits. I have it in my bag here. Hope Knit Yarns. That's where I got this. I think as soon as I was done, it popped into my head. Actually, I think while I was watching the playback, it popped into my head. Sorry. But anyway, Hope Knit Yarns is where I got that. I got actually quite a bit done. And now that my Knit It Down sweater is done, I'm really hoping I can charge through this project. So let's see, where's my marker from the last time? I was right here. So I got all of that done, which is pretty good. I am ready now to start the bust increases. Bust short rows rather, and I just finished fading in my 4th color. So I'm pretty happy with it. I haven't tried it on since the try-on I did back in New Hampshire when I had like, I don't know, 1/2 inch or an inch on this. I think what I'll do maybe is do my bust short rows and then try it on again. That sounds like maybe a good plan. I would love, 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 love to complete the collar and then around the armholes. However, I'm waiting because I want to take yarn from the end of wherever I land to then trim it. And I know it's going to be one of the darker colors in the fade, but I'm not sure how deep into it I'm going to get. So I kind of have to wait, as much as I would love to have that part of it finished right now. So, because I feel like it would really help as I'm working on it to help me, I don't know, just feel like things are going right. But I'm pretty happy. I think it's going to be a fun top. The back is mostly yellow because I started with the first color, which again was the color that I kind of liked the least. So it does look a little odd if you go like, there's the back and there's the front, but you know what? No one's going to be looking at my back and my front at the same time, right? So they're probably not going to even notice. And my hair is a little bit longer-ish, so it's going to be fine. I got a little hint of the yellow right on the tops of the armholes there, so just a little bit of it peeks over, and that's okay. So I am using didn't say, but I am using a mini skein set from Hedgehog Fibers. It's a sock mini set, and it is a merino nylon blend. So Hedgehog Fibers that I had gotten from a friend of mine. So that is project numero uno. Let's see, what should I talk about next? How about my Northeasterly Blanket? I started on my July colors before I lose my hook. I don't think I'm attached. Nope, I am not attached. So I didn't get a ton done. I really should focus on that. Words are hard, can't talk. Need to focus on that a little bit more. My kind of rough goal was to do one color a day so that I could definitely have the colors done by July. It's only the 23rd, so I have 8 days. And I still have, so this is what I've done. I started the first color, and there's the second color. So I still have 10 and a half colors in 8 days. So if I have a couple of days where I do 2, or if I try to do 2 a day, and then if I can't get to it, I don't know. I think it can be done, but I need to focus on it now. And again, now that my my Knit It Down sweater is done, I feel like I can give it a proper focus. So it's really, I don't think I've really shown it in all its glory. It's really, really fun. It's gonna be heavy though. It's got some heft to it. I think I've talked about that before. Like I don't know if it's DK or Sport. I feel like DK is what the yarn is. Yeah, it's a DK weight yarn by Wool & Women Fibers. Superwash merino nylon. So it washed up beautifully because as you recall, or may recall, I washed it at the end of June and it washed up beautifully. I don't think it's going to be one I'm going to wash all the time, so that shouldn't be a problem. But it's going to have a pretty good heft on it, which sometimes when I'm wearing a blanket, it's a comfort thing as much as, if not more than, the warmth that the blanket provides. So the fact that this has a really good heft, I think, is going to make it really, really snuggly and cuddly, and it's going to be a really good size when it's done. All right, there's project number 1, or 2 actually. Project number 3 is one I'm really excited about. This one too, because it's finally moving along. I pulled out my Cupid's bow socks. These are the socks. I'm gonna stall here for a second. I'm not showing you what I've got done because you're gonna be a little surprised. So these are the socks that I started when I went on vacation to Florida in February. Yes, February. I think I cast them on the road. I'm pretty sure I cast them on the road. And I was thinking it would be a good project to just have toting around and drag them along with me when we went out, but I really didn't end up pulling them out when we went out. I don't know, I just didn't. But here's the yarn. It is my February 2025 Yarnables yarn. So this yarn had just come in right before I left, and I think we left on Valentine's Day, and I don't know, it's a really fun colorway. Hopefully those colors are picking up really good. So I started them. I got, I don't even know, maybe an inch into the leg. I don't think I really even barely got anything done, but then they got set aside. So, and I would pull them out a little bit here and there. This week, the week that we are in right now, Knitty Natty is running her Sock Week challenge, which the challenge is to knit one adult sock in the week. And I thought that would be a really great excuse for me to get these socks done. The problem was whips don't count, so I had to start and complete the sock in the week, and it started this past Sunday and it runs until next Sunday, so you've got 8 days to knit a sock. So that meant I had to finish the first sock. I mean, I guess I didn't have to. Actually, I kind of did, because I think by the time I made this decision, I had already commandeered my other sock needles for something else you're gonna see in a second. So I had to finish it. Oh dear, right? So look, I have sock number 1 done. So this is where I was at when I picked it up on Thursday. And I turned the heel, I knit the foot, and then I decided to kind of make it a little interesting. I pulled out a scrap. This is Miss Babs Avon, and I added a couple of stripes and a toe. And again, that was a Knitty Natty thing. I think she did it with some socks that she did in June. And got this puppy done on Saturday. I think I completed it. So I was all ready to start my next sock on Sunday, and I have been plugging away on it. Natalie has posted a fun little plan. There's no rules per se, but if you want to make it manageable, then the goal would be to cast on and knit the cuff on Sunday. Monday and Tuesday were devoted to the leg. Wednesday, today, is the heel. And then Thursday, Friday is the foot. Saturday was the toe, and that leaves a day of buffer. So that way you're kind of doing it in these little chunks. So that has been working really nicely for me, and I actually am all the way through. Look, I've just turned my heel. So I've got my leg. This little marker here I was just using to help me I don't typically count my rows, but I actually did, and it's interesting. I knit to the same length as this sock rather, and it was 63 rounds, which I've always been kind of curious, because I know some people, when they knit their vanilla socks, they kind of have this formula, you know, they'll do 20 rounds for the cuff, 60 rounds for the leg, they turn their heel, 40 or 45 or however many rounds they need for their foot. Like they do it based on rounds, and I've never done that. I've always, you guys have seen, I like to use my hand as my kind of measuring gauge, but I think it actually is kind of helpful information to know that that's roughly where I'm landing, is about 62, 63 rows for the length of leg that I want. So if I ever wanted to put in a particular amount of stripes or whatever, that would have me in the ballpark of what I'm doing. Actually, I probably should use that information again when I get to another project I'm going to tell you about in just a minute. So these will be done by the weekend. I'm so stoked, because again, this is one that has lingered far, far too long. So once this project is done, I was looking over my project page on Ravelry yesterday, and I think I currently have 7 really kind of active projects. I have 2 or 3 that are actually hibernating, I actually just ripped one out that had been sitting in my basket. And then I have 2 more that I left in my basket that I will probably get to eventually, but they've been sitting there for years. But other than that, everything else, my Yorkshire blanket is going to be, well, my Northeasterly, but that's an ongoing one, so you can't really count that. My Yorkshire blanket is going to be my oldest whip. With the exception of the Hexie blanket that I keep alluding to but have never shown you because I haven't worked on it in 2.5 years. So there's that too. But at any rate, I kind of digress. So, okay, what are we going to pull out next? Oh yeah, I think that takes me to this last knitting project and then my spinning project. So I'm pretty sure. So I did not... Well, no, it's not true. I did 1 round or 1 row back and forth on my Bahama Advent wrap. My focus kind of, sometimes I get very single-minded when I'm pushing through to finish something, and that's what happened last week. So, but remember last week when I started talking about my leftovers for my Bahama Advent things, yarn, and I was trying to think about what I was going to do with those, because I was having about 5.5 to 6 grams left over of each color, which is not insignificant. And I had talked about possibly doing some socks. Well, that thought just would not leave me, and I became obsessed with it. And so I did cast on two pairs of socks actually. So this is what I have. I am doing these toe up, which I rarely do toe up socks. They're kind of fun, actually. I'm kind of enjoying this slight diversion from the way that I typically do socks. I downloaded, I think it's by Katy Stevens, like a free toe-up pattern just to give me the framework, but I'm kind of doing my own thing, if that makes sense. Like I'm reversing my process. So I did Judy's Magic Cast On for the toe, and then I worked my toe in reverse. And now I'm working my foot. You know, of course, you do your foot round and around until I get to the heel. So I'm going to use the pattern to help me determine when I need to start my heel, how to knit my heel, and then I'll be fine because I will just be doing my foot, my leg, I mean, and my ribbing, my cuff, and happy day, right? So I only need to be holding one of these. I figured out kind of how much weight. So what I did is I figured out how much weight my socks use in yarn typically, and it was right around 60 grams. And then I divided the 24 colors by 60 grams, which meant that I wanted to use, I think, about 4 grams of each or something in that neighborhood. So that's kind of how I started. So I ended up I did my toe, of course, in my first color. And I did almost all of the increases. Now if you can kind of, there we go. And then I switched in my second color. And now I don't remember if I faded. No, I don't think I faded. I literally just went into the color. Yep. And initially I thought I was gonna try to do, I think it was 8 rounds of each color, but I think that's gonna make the socks too long, because what I ended up doing is I pulled out the last 2 Advent socks that I did, which are striped, right? And I counted the number of stripes because it's a stripe a day. And I determined I think it will be better if I do 6 rounds, which is what the third color is. So the first 2 colors, they're both identical because I worked the toe, worked color 2, right? So these are identical, but from here on out, the stripes will be a little bit smaller, which is fine. I'm really kind of hoping that when I get to the heel, I will be able to figure out, I don't want to use the colors in the heel because I don't want to break up the striping. So I'm hoping I can do the heel in a contrast color while still allowing myself to use all of the colors and not have a ridiculously tall sock, if that makes any sense. So we'll see where this lands. I have my next color all ready to go, and I think I have one more. No, I have 2 more in here. Is this the next? No, this is not the next color. I have 2 more in here. This is a magic knot ball. So when I was finished with each of the other colors, I weighed them, and then I had, so I'm kind of tracking in my, I'm all over the place in this one, I'm sorry. So I'm tracking in my notebook here as I complete colors, and the first row was the finished weight of what I had before I did the socks, and then the weight of what I did with the second socks. So color 1 is a little bit smaller because it was the foundational cast on row for the scarf, and then I did maybe slightly more in my toe with it than I would have normally, but then you can kind of see, I'm just tracking it. So anyway, I was having still around 3 grams left over, which again is not insignificant, but I decided at that point I did not want them all separate. So I have been winding them into a magic knot ball. So this is 3 colors worth into a magic knot ball. And that's what I will do as I complete each of my colors. So I'm very excited about this project. It'll work concurrently with the shawl, because my thought process is I finish a color in the shawl, I can add it to my socks and kind of go back and forth like that. And it's only 6 rows, so it's not going to take me a ton of time to add to the socks when I'm ready to do that, half an hour tops. So that is that project, and it'll be kind of cool when I'm all done. I will have not only the wrap, but a pair of socks, and then I'll have a really cool magic knot ball that I don't know what I'll do with. I will probably, I got about 3 grams of each. That's still gonna be like 72 grams of yarn. So I don't know. We'll see what I choose to do with it, but I think having it all in a magic knot ball will be fine at this point. So, okay. That is the last of the knitting. I did not work on my niece's baby blanket. Again, I was focused on other things, and that is okay. Hopefully this week I can put some work into it and get a nice chunk done. Any other project that I haven't touched? No, I don't think so. So let's talk about my spinning project, which also is going a little more slowly. I am still working on the first bobbin, or the first ply of the third skein. So that's what I've got done. I have this piece here that I'm still spinning, and then this batch here. I've been kind of this time breaking it up into smaller batches because it's just easier to hold on to, and also a little less finicky isn't the right word, futzy. I don't know. If I want to set the whole thing aside, I don't have this big piece of fiber that is kind of floating around, just kind of asking for trouble. So that's not a whole lot to report other than the fact that I'm still picking away at it. I have been pretty consistent. My goal, again, because it's Tour de Fleece, which goes until Saturday or Sunday this week. I'll have to look it up. I don't remember. And my goal was to spin a little each day, hopefully a minimum of 5 minutes, if not longer. And I have done that with the exception of 2 different days. One of them was a week and a half ago on a Sunday. And then this past Monday, I actually didn't get to it. And as it happens, there are 2 rest days. And this past Monday was actually a rest day. So accidentally, I aligned with when I could legitimately take a break. So hopefully I will have this project done, the skein done by next week. That would be lovely. But I'm just enjoying the process and enjoying all the other things that I'm working on. So that is what my projects look like from here this week. Well, I've got nothing new on my yarn shelf, and I'm trying not to let myself project dream too deeply. I really, again, like I said earlier, I think it's 7 active projects. I'd like to get that down just a little bit. I do have, I guess if I have any project dream, it's going to be the kit that I got from Stephen West back in November. I don't remember the name of the shawl. I don't remember the name of the kit. Go back to my November podcast, or December when I received the yarn. I don't remember. But at any rate, that's the closest I'm coming to dreams. Is I really would like to get that cast on, but realistically, that might not happen until September. And then I'm also starting to percolate on what sweater I want to work on and which sweater quantity. I just have that one that I brought back from New York City, and I'm kind of conflicted over whether to work from most recent back or oldest-ish, because I've got sweater quantities that well predate this year, but I still have 3 sweater quantities that I acquired at the beginning of the year, and I can't decide if I should go pick one of those or if I should work on. I guess it doesn't matter, right? I can work on whatever I work on, and I guess I haven't decided. So there you go. See, I'm really not letting myself project dream too much. But anyway, in my day-to-day, let's see. I'm really leaning into my summer break and slow mornings, taking it easy, sitting and knitting a lot. And I'm okay with that. We had construction that began on Thursday. We had Thursday and Friday. I had a team in, well, 2 people, I guess. They're a team, right? And the demolition is now done on that bedroom space. Actually, one of the guys came back yesterday to kind of spent a couple of hours just kind of really cleaning it up. So it's now ready. They come back tomorrow to start sheetrocking. So that was going on Thursday and Friday. I was kind of laughing because I didn't do a whole lot Thursday and Friday. I really didn't, other than sit in my recliner and knit. And so every time they came downstairs and they were going back and forth and they're going like right past where I'm sitting, I was literally sitting in my recliner, and they're probably thinking that woman does nothing. And I guess it looked like I was doing nothing because I really was doing nothing, but what they don't know is that I work my tushy off during the school year, and so I'm soaking up this summer break. I haven't had a summer like this where I've had such a long stretch, sustained stretch, without going away on vacation for a week. And I'm the kind of person, I might have already talked about this, but I'm the kind of person to really refill my cup. I need to be home not necessarily by myself, but not needing to interact with people and just doing my own thing. And so I'm 2 weeks into a nice 6-week stretch here now until I go back to school, and I'm really leaning into it. I did start to, I'll get to that, but I did start to pick away at some of the things that I need to do. But yeah, I'm taking it really slow, and it's fine, right? Right. So Saturday morning, I had that board meeting. It was the Odyssey of the Mind. It's our summer meeting, which is a day long, well, from like 9 to 3:30. We spend together. We spend a little bit of time looking back at the previous season. Not a ton, because we do a retrospective right after the tournament, and then we did have a June meeting where we talked about the World Finals, and so there wasn't a whole lot to wrap up, but then we really start forward planning and looking ahead to the next season and things like that. And so we get to create a theme and kind of our focus and setting some goals and some different things. So that was great. I had my sweater, like I said, I got a nice chunk done on that sleeve. We were supposed to go visit my mother-in-law when I got home, but I got home at like 4:15, and I would have needed to have literally got in the car, and we would have turned around and we would have headed right out. And I was really kind of wiped. I had gotten up. I had to be there for 9, which meant I needed to leave my house at 8, which meant that I got up at like 6:15 so I could take a shower and have a little bit of quiet time. So it was almost like a school day. And then it was just a lot of peopling, right? Like, I adored the board. I really do. They're great friends. I love working with them. But it's being on, it's being conversive, it's thinking, it's like, so we ended up, I was just kind of sitting there, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can make myself move. And my husband's like, we'll go tomorrow, that's fine. Or we won't. Like, we'll see how you feel tomorrow, but let's just stay home. So that's what we did. On Sunday, after church, I think did he do some work? Yeah, my husband started the electrical. He had done some electrical on Saturday. He was working on that. And then on Sunday, I think he did a little bit more electrical, and then we headed out around 4:15, 4:30. The one thing we did do Saturday night after I kind of recovered is we went out Saturday night and got some groceries, and we took a look at we went to Lowe's and Home Depot and scouted out like some closet. I've got a really funky closet off of the bedroom that I want to turn into a nice walk-in clothes closet. But it's not attic per se, but it is the roof line, and I have a gambrel roof. So part of it is like this, and then part of it is more like this. So it's angled like really deep. So it's really funky how, like, there's no straight walls, basically is the point. Like, you're walking into what would feel like an attic space. So I wanted to scout out what kind of closet solutions are out there and how we could potentially use those to really make that a space that is more than just putting up a rod and having things hang. That's not really what I wanted. My vision is to have a little bit more defined space, which probably means it's going to be a little bit lower because the units only go up 40 inches. Well, if you do a double, like they come in 2 pieces. And so the bottom pieces, or the whatever pieces, it's like 40 inches. So we can fit half of it, which is good because they come in halves, and put that down through into the closet. We can put it on both sides. So I think it's going to work out well. So anyway, we were scouting that out Saturday night, which meant that on Sunday when I got home from church, didn't have to go anywhere because I had done groceries, and just kind of, I relaxed. So my husband did a little bit more work on that, the electrical in that space. And then we did go visit my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law. And then on Monday, I had the house to no, my older son was home and they didn't come back for demolition. But it was quiet-ish in the morning. I took it slow, but then I started tackling some of the boxes that had been out in my living room and in spaces, and I ended up doing a big closet clean out. I actually paused on the stuff in my living room and went into my closet, which was also a piece of what I wanted to get done before we try to relocate that stuff anyway. And I purged a whole chunk of stuff. I had 3.5 trash bags full of clothes from my closet. I was ruthless. I was really quite ruthless, which hopefully I don't regret. I don't think I will. It was just, I needed to cut the cord on a lot of that stuff, and it'll be fine. So, and it feels really good actually to have that all out. Kind of reallocated where some things were, so that's good. I created a little bin. I don't know, do you guys have t-shirts? Like, I have a bunch of t-shirts, mostly from the Odyssey of the Mind, past tournaments and things that I really don't want to get rid of, but I don't need to stare at them every single time I go into my drawer. So I put them into a bin and shoved it under my bed. So at least they're there. If I really want to pull them out, they're there, but I don't need to look at them all the time. So, and anyway, I digress, right? And then Monday night, as I had mentioned, I had gone out. We met, the ladies from my church met at a restaurant and we had dinner together, and there was, I think, 11 or 12 of us, and it was just really, really lovely time of fellowship, and the meal was wonderful, and really had a great night tonight, great night together. That's where I got a good chunk of that yarn cozy done, and then yesterday was just really quiet. Did my workout, came home. The guy had come back just before I left my workout, and was here until about noon, and then after that it was totally quiet, and here we are. So that is what I have for this week. I thank you so much for joining me, and if you're still here, for sticking it out. If you enjoyed this podcast, please hit the like button and subscribe so you know when I post new videos. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Knittin Michelle, KNITTINMICHELLE. You can also send me an email at michellesfiberstudio@gmail.com. Is there anything else that I'd like to say in this section? I don't think so. With that, I hope you have a fantastic week and happy knitting!